here. As we are all aware, VLCC is a leading wellness brand in the sector, and we deal with obesity mainly. So since we have eminent doctors in the audience today, I would be keeping it very short and brief. I would be basically talking about obesity. We would be talking about the problem here today. Now, what is obesity? Most of us are aware that obesity is not excess body weight. Rather, it is excessive accumulation of fat in the body to the extent that your health may be impaired. So basically, obesity is not excess body weight, it is excess body fat that leads to excess body weight. Now, it is a consequence of an energy imbalance between what you take and what you utilize. So when we take a diet, it is a source of calories for the body, and when we do any kind of physical activity, whether talking, walking, running, jogging, anything, it is a way how we burn calories. So when in an individual, there is an imbalance between the calorie input versus the calorie output, the surplus calories are deposited in the form of fat in the body, leading to obesity. Now, if we discuss about the equivalence between the fat and the calories, 1 kg of fat is equivalent to 7,500 kilocalories. Next slide, please. So, if we have a way of knowing how many excess kgs of fat we are presently carrying and we multiply it with 7,500, we will know that this is the surplus amount of calories that we presently have in our body. Now, the causes of obesity, the factors which lead to this calorie imbalance are multiple, starting from faulty dietary habit, either because of ignorance or maybe because of a time constraint where we are not able to take proper meals at proper intervals. We know what to take, but we are not able to take what is required. Then there can be low level of physical activity with improved mechanization, where our physical activity, the calorie output that we do through the physical activity has gone down. Everything is mechanized these days. Medical reasons can be a contributing cause to obesity. Hereditary, environmental and social factors. Sometimes we succumb to our peer pressure because of the social accountability that we have. Let's say we work in a field which requires a lot of parting out, a lot of deviation from the standard diet. That may be a contributor factor to obesity. Then psychological reasons, because many people, when they are emotionally lonely or when they are psychologically challenged, they tend to find solace in eating. Next slide. Now, we talk about reduction in body weight all the time. Now, the body weight has two components. The first one is fat weight, and the second one is the fat-free weight known as the lean weight, which comprises of your bones, muscles, etc. So when we talk about reduction in body weight, we need to understand we are talking about reduction in fat weight and not disturbing the lean mass. Now, the excess fat which is there in my body has to get deposited somewhere. So either it can be a uniform distribution, or in most of the cases it is a specific area distribution, let's say arms, thighs, hips, and mainly the abdominal part. Now, when fat accumulates in the abdominal part, it is known as central obesity, because the abdominal part is the central part of the body. Next slide. Now, what is the significance of waist circumference? We do say that for an Asian female, your waistline should not exceed 80 centimeter, and in case of an Asian male, it should not exceed 90 centimeter, the waistline. Because what happens when we have central obesity, where fat is concentrated in the abdominal area instead of being distributed evenly all over the body, this fat which is collected in this area, the visceral fat, is more dangerous because it does lead to many medical complications like diabetes, cardiovascular issues, etc. Next. When we are dealing with obesity, a common term that we come across is BMI, that's body mass index. Now, if I explain BMI in very simple terms, BMI tells me whether as per my height, the weight that I am presently carrying, is it appropriate, more or less. By knowing the BMI can be calculated by using the formula we all know, weight in kg divided by height in meters square. Now this can be calculated at any given point of time. I can always calculate my BMI if I know my height and weight. But when we deal with obesity, knowing BMI is not enough. BMI just tells you that according to your height, the weight that you are carrying is more or less or normal. You have to get a body composition analysis done, because unless and until you know whether you have excess fat or not, you can't call yourself an obese person. Now, for an Asian, the normal range of BMI is 18.5 to 22.9. 23 and above will be overweight and then obesity. Can I move on to the next slide? So, the way to deal obesity, whether it is VLCC or whether it is any organization which deals in this sector, is to create a concept called negative calorie balance in your body. Now, obesity is because we have a positive calorie balance where the intake is more than output, leading to surplus calories. So, the solution has to be reverse of positive calorie balance, which is negative calorie balance, where whatever you are eating, your output has to be more than that. If a person claims that I am eating less, then I have to understand that you are burning even lesser. So output has to be more than what you are taking through your diet. This leads to a condition called calorie deficit, and when there is a calorie deficit in the body, the stored fat is going to get utilized, leading to weight loss. And when I am talking about scientific weight loss, we are emphasizing that the weight loss has to be from the fat component which is excess, not the lean component. In order to burn 1 kg of fat from the body, we need to produce a deficit of 7,500 kilocalories. Now it's up to us whether we want to create this deficit in 1 week or 1 month. Now what we basically do is, in VLCC we combine 4 different components which has a dietary modification component, lifestyle modification, passive and active exercise. Coming to the dietary modification, I would request all of you to take some time out and visit our setup or the stall for a one-to-one interaction, because what I believe is there is nothing called a generalized approach. It has to be a specific approach. If I am planning, if as a nutritionist I am planning a diet chart for a person, I need to go into the details, the dietary history, the lifestyle, the food habits, any kind of food allergy if the person has, how much time does the person have to eat, whether the person can cook or whether the person has a maid to do the cooking, or maybe he is eating out in a cafeteria or a canteen. So we need to look into the medical aspects. We need to coordinate with the doctors and understand the biochemical parameters before setting out planning the diet. How much carbohydrate, how much protein, how much fat should we give? We need to coordinate with the medical team before planning out the diet. Now this is basically a food pyramid which tells us that all the food items are grouped under various headings, starting from cereal groups, moving on to pulses, then vegetable group, fruit group, meat, poultry, fish, etc., milk group, and the last group which needs to be used judicious, I would say you have to keep an eye on how much amount is coming from this particular food group, which is your fat, oils and sugar group. Next. Just go back to the previous slide, please. Coming back to the diet, it is not only important to plan out a balanced diet in pen and paper, we also need to ensure the person who is following your diet is the person having a proper food processing or not. When I talk about food processing, it means in what way you are digesting what you are eating, whether you are absorbing it properly, whether you are assimilating it properly. This also has to be monitored. Now in most of the cases when we interact with people, there are people who come up to us saying that you guys have given me a diet which you claim as balanced, but still I am not benefiting from it. I am still feeling weak or tired. So maybe you need to modify the diet. Now as a consultant, I will not straight away modify the diet first. I need to first understand whatever the person is eating, whether the person is digesting or processing it properly or not. The simple act of chewing, which is a mechanical digestion, how many of us actually have time to chew what we are eating? Because most of us eat while we are working, maybe we are talking over phone, we are watching television, reading a newspaper, so there are many activities which distract us when we are eating.